So everybody, Smile here. Welcome back to another one of my versus battle. It's been a long time since I did one of these. Hope you guys will enjoy this one. As you see by the title, we got Augus, the pale god of war. Was once one of the 8 generals, but now is a 7th deity and a ruthless reckoner with a sword known as Wailing Dog that could penetrate through a planet, split in half if he wanted to, with bursting means in his own words. He doesn't fight for good, he doesn't fight for evil. He just fights because of the thrill of the fight. And he runs into danger with an iron fist, with an iron sword of hitting bliss. And again, we always have someone that can rival out a godlike power in this sense. With Jormangandrr of Norse mythology, not God of War, and not any other substance matter. This is Norse mythology. I repeat, Norse mythology, poetic edda, escordetta, normal Norse mythology, Nordic teachings, Jormangandrr, the creator of the world, the rival to Thor, the serpent that would split Thor if it needed to, a relative or possibly overboasting beast in comparison to Fenrir the Unbound, and one of the, if not the most strongest son of Loki, a Jotun beast with a growling taste of god flesh. Either way, though, two cabans would be interesting. Within the left corner, Augus, Master's Wrath, and the right, again, Jormungandr from Norse mythology. Another case of surface of the character. I hope you guys will enjoy this one. This will be interesting. I love y'all. Let's go and get into it. Starting off with Augus, the god of war, was one, like I said before in the intro of him, one of the 8 generals, but became the 7 deities after the great Lord Deus decided to go and kill the emperor they were fighting for in the form of a heavenly plane known as Gaia in this case. But even then with that, he didn't care because of the fact of him fighting as a deity would give him better guidance and an arguable full flame to go ahead and fight. But it wouldn't really matter because Deus' great rebirth plan would make his fights meaningless, untasteful, pretty much in his own words, and not actually in the same form of pleasure that he would get with fighting with someone like Asura and the other deities, especially since a bunch of other people were not as strong as him. More and more he fought the Goma, and he didn't really get the same fulfillment of fighting as well. And more, Lord Deus' plan, in his own words, says that all his plan was just ridiculous and hold no sanctum to what he did as well. Especially since he had his own kind of rivalry against Deus, since in the words of Yasha, the only person he put out Wailing Dark against was Lord Deus, the Zeus Asian version in this, in comparison to the other character like in the form of Zeus from God of War. So it's obviously Asura's Wrath, my favorite video game for you. Too bad I can't play it on PS4. I'll use a PS now and that shit trash. It looks sad though. Obviously, as baseness to God of War and the form of Deus, like I just said to reiterate, it's like an Asian version of Zeus in a way. There's a lot more to him, but he has that same spectrum, especially since he has this bouldering yellow to black electricity. So that's interesting. Besides his character, he's a very phenomenal, cool character. Is a beast. Was the mentor to Yasha and Asura, and taught Asura how to confine his rage into bigger bursts of anatomy. Showed him different ways. Is a very strong, beastful force, and at the same time, all the same of his wrath is gone to the fight, and he used it with great blitzing speed, precision, and most importantly, ironically, wrath in a sense. But as well, put on game with a bunch of different arcade abilities to be more than just a brute, as a tactician, let out things, was a general, but not as a general as being the main formal general, because the actual case of a general was in the form of deities of leading and placement of power. But Augus has a lot of cool experience, a lot of cool things about him, a lot of anime stuff. And even though he didn't actually get a taste of anything fruitful in the form of fights they fought for deities, when he had to go ahead and put up arms against the quote-unquote traitor Asura, one of the 8 generals before, but a fallen god slash demigod, because they're all demigods, but they all have a god-like form of essence, especially in the form of their pantheon, what they reconciled in, and they legit call themselves deities, so it is what it is, but you get what I mean. Fighting a fallen demigod, Asura, finally he got a piece of some fun, but unfortunately Asura defeated him in this sense, and he was killed by his own blade, splitting him through the stomach. He died happy and proud that his student welcomed the final teaching and overcame it in a very splitting end. Either way though, Asura's final words were just in the welcoming that Asura would get his vengeance. As even though it's not shown, Augus doesn't necessarily believe in the cowardry of taking a life to pick out another one. So either way, he might not be a white knight, but he is a proud master. Time to actually go ahead and get into Augus's capabilities and how he's like and all sort of stuff. Which every time I possibly actually go ahead and play Astros, I would love to. But it means I actually like full played it, but that's just case of my memory. So I'm sorry, a little bit things seem a little bit weird. But I have got to catch up a little bit, say so as well, everything involving the characters and all that. Kind of move before I say that. But with that being said, though, I'm just saying in the setup involving the characters and all that, I love how it's like and you should play Astros ref. It's pretty dope. How powerful Augus is, coming to the chase, is way to a star level because of how powerful Asura is in his base and how he's like in composition. He's able to keep up with Asura even with 6 arms with his power up of Vajra Asura, which in case you guys want to know what that means pretty much Buddha's warrior, Buddha's champion, correct me if I'm wrong, Shaolin for honor, which ironically you're mostly going to see Shaolin gameplay by the time I'm putting this together from the edit, is like that as well. So with that being said, how the characters line up together is pretty interesting, evolving the form for him being so much of a wrathful person, but nah, he's Buddha's champion. But besides that though, since I'm able to keep up with that, that at least makes his attack potency and impactment be 638 times 10 to the 39 joules or dwarf star level in full. And you full read the calculations, and I do want to shout out to a YouTuber when I go and put him up because I forgot his name. You can look him up right now on how powerful is Augus, and he gave me the full read of power scaling with Augus. Not exactly, I gave this on my own from research before in the case of character and other stuff, but I want to say I appreciate him. Obviously I'm not playing him what is being said, so not a steal, no copyright, no nothing. Go check out his thing if you want to get a full fling feel of how powerful something like Asura is, and at the same time Augus. With that being said, mainly it's in the cause of Augus since it is how powerful is Augus, but if you want to get a full dominating form of how powerful a character like Asura is in comparison, then you can go look at that. I go my own version of over my little stage plug Asura for the Shao Kahn. If you want to get a full fundamental of Augus, go check him out. Back to topic though. That is how he would be like in base, but he does get advancement through the form of his sword, Wailing Dark. I'll get into that later on though. But his speed is 61,109 times the speed of light, or just hyper faster than light in this case, if you want to put it like that. Then you have his sword, like I said, Wailing Dark. Wailing Dark is so powerful, it's able to split through Earth, and it's able to expand to immeasurable potential heights, and never can stop decreasing unless the wielder sheaths it back. And also his sheath is so powerful, it's able to one-shot one of the Goma, these big-ass fish, and also it's so collaterally big that it's able to split slash Kadum a different part of the moon. Also, he is also a one fling slice to be able to make Kadum Kakum within the moon, and could split the moon in half if he wanted to, so that alone is just continental right then and there. Doesn't even matter. And also in comparison for what he's also able to do, it really depends about the case of the matter of the character as well, with that being said. But in general, with his sword being able to split in half the whole entire Earth if he wanted to, because the Earth is over 12,742,000 meters, correct me if I'm wrong. So with that being said, which I have the scaling and proxy and mostly in the description, also you can go and look it up. But with him being able to insert the form of the sword into the moon, or in the form of earth, because that's where the feet comes from, where he's able to extend his sword so long and splitting it through Asura, and it's ingrained through the earth, and him splitting through the earth and having the extended power case to be able to break the earth in half if he wanted to. His sword at least have to be around his case of measurement a full proxy Earth and a half quarter distance. So with 50 times of this plane within the form of the math would still keep it at a good hardened plane of 1,000,000 something in the quarter of how the planet is like. And so with the extensions, his blade at full mass, it can go through Earth like a drill, or it can cut Earth in half. It also times his power, like I was going into, by 5 times, making Augus SS or solar system, or better yet in point, 2.24 times 1032, and equalization 225 million times in the case of his normal base and run. It also could technically accumulate a possibility to boost out his speed, but not in the form of a long run, because it's more of halting off in the case of matter for it. But it's a big ass sword and great splitting capabilities, and it has a lot of great ray of potential in the hardcore though. So that's how powerful Augus is. He is a beast. Again, this is only in correlation for how much he extends, because during extension he would just be obviously White Dwarf star level in correlation and base and B plus that. That's it really. But again, like I said, it really just depends on the form of how he's doing things. It depends on the rack of power that he gets in this case for the full of the character and all that. But I'm not having fucking tongue still. I'm glad I'm able to take this to you guys, but I'm just saying in the plane of what it is. It's just simply his power can extend depending on the measurement. But for someone like Jormangandrr, they're gonna stay evenly tack to tack in a placement of just planet plus. And to this extent, because Thor has that gravity, and someone like Jormungandr is able to fight someone like Thor. Arguably, Augus versus Thor would be a lot more cool, but I feel like it would be better cool to have Wise and fight Thor, because Thor would be being a big husky big boy, you know, plumpy busky ass husky Thor. You already know what it is. God of War 4 Thors. I'm not trying to make fun of him, just be cool because Wise and his juggly Blado ass fighting someone like Thor. How dare you disrespect the God of Thunder? But I mean, I don't know. But I mean, it actually could be a good battle, even though Wisen is fodder in comparison to the rest of the deities and everyone else. So it really just depends on the case of how you shake around with it, really, with the feel of the characters and all that, because it really doesn't hold that much complexity in the long run, arguably. But that's just how you would place it. If you guys do want me to go and do Sen with Norse Mythology Thor, I'm down to do that. Just tell me in the comments. Anyway, though, moving on to Jormungandr, the world serpent. Jormungandr is the third son of Loki, correct me if I'm wrong, in the form of the Order. He was born by Loki shape-shifting and forming into a magical snake with another like snake in the form of a shapeshifter, in this case Angrboda, Loki's mistress, slash beloved, peaceful wife in this sense, I guess you could say, even though she's supposed to be pale as death. Not no respect to her in the form of a face of who Angrboda is in God of War 4 in that sense, just in the sense of that, because I know some people will use that as a combat in the form of someone like Angrboda, and no hate to nobody in this. I'm really not trying to string God of War 4, I'm just trying to say it's profoundly accurate to the sense of how it is in Norse mythology, which I'm not trying to increase that. I'm just saying like that's not supposed to be a poke to someone like Angrboda, because I don't really care. Arguably, it's not going to tokenize her, but that's a whole different argument for a different day, and that's not even the point here, like I said. Not to string God of War 4, Jormungandr, such include anything in the case of matter for God of War. Kinda except for God of War Ragnarok, though. That's besides the point, though. Back on topic, not to get diluted, Jormungandr, when he was little, because he was fated to bring out chaos onto Midgard, and a prophecy entailed that Jormungandr would bring destruction to the Aesir, and mainly put Thor out of commission with killing him, and after Thor's wounds against Jormungandr, after Thor would break open the serpent's head, he would walk 9 steps, and because of his gouging poison injuries, he would fall dead. But at the same time, he also, because of the fact that he was one of Loki's children, would also just bring disaster upon that as well with Loki's Great Ape plan. And so, someone, I'm pretty sure Odin, would go ahead and throw him up into the Midgard Sea, and he just grew exponentially. There was no reimbursement of time. He was not struck by Thor and sit back at time. No, that's God of War. No, Jormungandr would actually grow exponentially and eventually bite his own tail, would have formed him cradling the world. And within Cuz evolving his other siblings, in this case like someone like Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse, being the horse Odin, Hel, goddess of death, and queen of Jotunheim to Helheim in this case, evolving another tick of people, with this being said as well. And also his little brother, the unbound hellish wolf, Fenris or Fenrir. And Jormungandr is one of only in second, arguably, to Fenrir or relative. There's been debates about it, why he actually has a first battle between them. I feel like it's a very even, understandable claim in the form of only someone like Jormungandr best, and then I feel like there's even properties in the plane evolving the form of like Fenrir beating Jormungandr just when the kind of power scaling. But you could say that he's relative, you could say that he's better than Fenrir, but I would mainly say he has better capabilities than Fenrir, but I wouldn't put him at a boast of being, stronger. That's me personally. But he's a very beastful son of Loki. He's the world serpent. He's the rival of Thor and facing the strongest Norse god physically. So, with this being said, Jormungandr is a very strong, out there, beastful, peck of an individual himself in all regards. So, with that being said, his capabilities to evade someone like Thor and keep up with him will be put into max the capabilities that he has, and that's pretty much it for him, and he would down Ragnarok by getting his head cracked. Now, for his capabilities and his feats, Jorm can engulf all of Earth, and because of his size, he would have planetary or a low ball multi-continental. And the reason why I would say that is because depending on your claims, even on the consumption of what I have here and all the different feats that I'm reading off, and all the different things that come with this by scans, he would not just be multi-continental, because even though again you could accept and depending on the perception of Jormungandr that he only wraps around a world view and not actually entirely around the world, his capabilities to move around the world and evade someone like Thor and keep up with him, not like on an outer plane level, because you could assume that as a possibility, but by the perception which you can place into feel, he would not be just multi-continental, because in that sense the conception is he's just so big he wraps around the world, right? And he would just be able to wrap around and overswell all the continents, the entire ginormous plane of Earth, because of his body, and just swallow it whole. And at the same time, with that consumption being multi-continental, comes in a proxy of pretty much his baseline being form of continental in general, because the form of him be able to possibly, within the form of his size, break the moon or do worse. With that being said, he could possibly just do that in a heartbeat. Also, that just conforms into the form of possibility of you just being multi-continental. This base plane just being form of Earth, you would possibly just be surface level. With that being said, so it's planet surface level. So his speed component to that, it really just depends on the run of things. Again, I'm not trying to go into hyperbole. With the scaling in the forms that said he would beat planetary, I'm just saying you can make arguments to say a low ball if you're really trying to downgrade Jormungandr and put him lower so Augus just depletes him there. But I would say everybody can make an argument to say that he is planet level because of his size. That's the only reason why I'm mentioning this. It's just for Obsidian view in this case. Because again, in conclusion, I would put him there because simply, if he wraps around Earth by the consumption and perception, he would be multi-continental to high in place, be planet surface level to break up the entire world by all the feats. The fact he's able to fight someone like Thor, who is at a high extent the same equalization consumption within the form of someone like Augus, so that's in the form of word, and continuance in the figurement of how the character is built. And also in account of the fact that he's able to hold up an even plate against someone like Thor, and account for how he's able to be like, and the fact that it's the fucking world serpent, I would not proclaim that he's just going to be planet surface level, low ball pretension, only multi-continental, because it has the same rap, no pun intended. But moving on, I have to go on a side tangent. He had a clash with Thor, meaning he relative to the god of thunder. Meaning power-wise and mix of power is multi-continent to planetary. Planet-wise, in that sense, like I said before, this makes Jorm size at a minimum at least in the same roundabout form of meters as in the form of Earth, 12,742,000 meters. He has poison that can affect people on god levels, because his poison is the thing that declared the end for the god of thunder. And with this poison was able to eradicate small villages by different accounts, because when Jormangandrr rose in the wake of Ragnarok, he let out waste to the people with his hellish venom. That was over here like a spore from the gods themselves. It rained down in the skies like a meteor by different accounts. So with that being said, his poison could affect on a big swarming level. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes in this sense. And at the same time, this would mean just on a planet plus scale all around comparison to others. His scaling and run involving his speed and correlation to other characters that are, say, a form of equalization on place with someone like possibly like Thor would mean that he scales up to just at highball star level, because in general it would only be in the form of being multi-planetary, really, which is not a bad thing all around. His speed is lightning timing speed to course with someone like Thor, but that form of heavenly lightning and other encounters come with his character. His speed is definitely in proxy to be up there with just fast as light if you want to really highball that, because at general I would say maybe low to light as well. So, with this being said, this puts him down a bit of over the count of speed, but he definitely could reign to the feats of being as light or faster than light. Even though Augus is way more faster, not even in the form of a fight. And you might say, why are you putting him against him if it's not even going to be a fight with speed? Well, because of capabilities and different organization, that even with his speed, he can still hold up a fight. So that's why arguably would not be good to face him still, but you can make an argument that he could play against the character if he really wanted to roll up like that. In this case, pretty much it. That's it. But just saying that he's lightning timing at base would be 186,000 meters per second, so ultrasonic overall. But that's it for Jormangandrr. Time to actually talk about the rain in the fight, though. How I feel like this fight will go? Well, obviously, it will take place on Earth in the form of fighting Jormangandrr. Jormangandrr, rich for snake that it is, will predatory and pursue Augus. Augus, the boastful, arrogant god of war that he is, will be ready to go ahead and put up the Dukes on sight. I feel like because of the form of Augus trying to see what this beast can bring to the table, will not be going at full strength, so they'll kind of be at an even state. And this is what they can do. But Augus is going to be packing a punch with just in the form of his sheath and running at it at a high grade means in the placement of speed and correlating with all his math power in the form of what he can do. So I feel like Augus will just be overarchingly stronger, but Jormangandrr could maybe just go ahead and hold itself with evolving the capability of speed, bring out the poison, which definitely hold penetration a little bit on Augus. I don't think it would actually defect him what he can do, because if almost someone like Thor, that poison by different accounts over halting, because we actually want to go in quote here, Thor was facing the mighty beast, but more and more in between the planes of the fight, he was being damaged, hurt, and the poison was crushing him. So the poison was crushing him over time. In later stages in a paragraph, he would actually go ahead and be killed. Obviously, I'm not reading it exactly all. I'm saying in quote from the form of it. With actually, if you want to go and read it, it's just the exact same thing. If you actually want to go into quote, got the scans, my nigga. The actual scans in quote the form of Thor facing the mighty beast, not feeling like he can prevail, and then the poison of the great Jormungandr, the beast, was crushing him more and more in place of how evolving his power and how he can do things. So that's pretty much it. Evolving it, because how his power was not actually crushing himself in between the fight. It's just the wounds and the stasis of the fight. Thor was being crippled. Thor was still packing heat, and also Thor was arguably over rival Jormungandr because of the fact that he bonked him on the head and splintered his face like he splintered a tree in God of War 4. Obviously not the same Thor, but I'm just saying like in comparison. Like he has a wrecking ball capability of power that would put him down. I feel like Augus would be the same thing. So let's just say, hypothetically, that this poison will really hold a penetration blow on someone like Augus. It really depends on how you put it, because the form of his power would be very interesting and very decisive to really say who would win in the longer run, because of how everything is like in that sense, and the pure fact that someone like Augus has a lot of different stuff rubbing on him. I feel like he'll be able to stop it, probably be able to deflect it, smear out through it within the form of his sheath, and overarchingly just stomp out Jormangandrr, if he doesn't really find a plan, Jormangandrr could try to go and soar around him, do different things, eat him, but Augus would just be easy to go ahead and kill him from the inside if he even tried. So if he will, Augus also do is just plop his sheep inside his body or whatever. Augus probably could just penetrate through him. But this is just in his normal character. If we're not going like narratively within the kind of the character, that's his by full. He would just speed blitz him, and there's nothing that he could arguably do in this sense. And Wailing Dark is just eradicating guys. As soon as he pulls out Wailing Dark, Jormungandr is dead. It's not even a competition. So the reason why I put this battle together, because it's not just a one shot entirely, I feel like, is because you could play him. Well, how to play him? Crow plane. That's a plane or crow plane? Crow? I don't even know what I just said. Please, someone inform me what I just said. How to go and peek back on it. Whatever the case, though, I'm just saying, if you want to correlate a form in the sense of how he would be like in power, narratively, they would have even stasis depending on it. But Asura's mentor would just be too much, and he would override anything Jormungandr could possibly throw at him, because again, the sheath, the fact that he brings up Wailing Dark would be too much. And at the same time, Augus is in his base is already hyperspace and what he can do, and his light capabilities is just too much. I feel like Jormungandr would just live, because at the same time, this man Augus is cocky and would try to go ahead and get all the running of appeals that would come from a character like that. Pretty much it. That's really the full baseness for why something like that would really hold that much of a battle and continuance, because of the flow of how things would be like with the character and etc. It's pretty much it in this case for really why all around. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out, Marmy. Love y'all.